Did you know elevators and fireproof materials were heavily introduced as a new architectural safety measure after the Chicago fires in 1871? Skyscrapers became a prominent part of the city of Chicago from 1882 to 1892. Jane Bonchek, who is a part of the Construction History Society, highlights in the book Construction History these buildings were large consumers of fireproof terracotta tiles, iron, steel, and elevators, a timely addition to the new approach to architecture that was seen throughout the 19th century in America. Improving safety of structures was the number one priority. Further to this point, William Barksdale Maynard, an experienced journalist, mentions the lack of safety in architecture in America from 18 to 1850 in his book, Architecture in the United States, 18 to 1850. New building materials, building techniques such as brick structures, and safety measures brought a start to the modern era of architecture in the late 19th century. Burnham and Root were an architecture firm opened in 1873 by Daniel Burnham and John Wellborn Root. They would go on to forever change the architecture roots in Chicago. The soil quality in Chicago was quite poor. To combat this and move towards a safer style of architecture, the company used innovative floating raft foundations. In fact, Parole Dubé states that modern engineers often use this technique today, inspired by Burnham and Root floating the foundations of the Monadnock building on a desiccated crust. This was the foundations of their skyscraper-like structures, which introduced fireproof materials and lifts to move throughout the building easily and safely in an efficient manner. The Monadnock building in Chicago, designed by the company Burnham and Root, was questioned due to the fact it imposes as a civic image. However, in his book, Modern Architecture, William R. Curtis writes that Burnham and Root were questioned, but the issues were resolved by sculptural entity. Their work had directness and clarity. Monolithic masonry work was being pushed out at this time, furthermore, promoting this civic image architecture in the late 19th century. At the time, people neglected change in architecture and often wanted to stick to classical designs. To further back up the quality of their work, Louis Bull used the idea of geometry and symmetry in his designs, prior to Burnham and Root. Louis inspired and influenced modern architecture. The plan and interior of the Monadnock building proved the innovation was effective. Offices and stores located on the exterior of the building, with corridors and walkways centralized. A new style of skyscraper, moving away from classical interior designs onto modernist architecture. For more information, look at the suggested references here.